price of silver is rising again and is close to a 45-year high. Important economic information is not being released due to the current government shutdown, which is greatly impacting precious metals. Silver is rising in the market as one of the leading assets by value. It is currently higher than Bitcoin, but what might happen next? Finally, I know many of you are asking if silver is going to drop like it did in 1980 and 2011. Let's discuss it. The worst day on Wall Street since the 1987 crash. Ahora estamos un 43% abajo. This might be the worst recession in many years. Safeguard your retirement using gold and silver IRAs. Visita sdbullion.com/IRA para más información. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Mira la plata. It is doing really well right now. Sitting at $48.37, it's up about $1.25, which is more than a 2.5% increase. On a day when silver is very close to a 45-year high, I will show you that in a moment. But silver isn't the only thing rising. Gold is also near $3,900 an ounce. It briefly reached that amount and is up more than $30 today, which is nearly a 1% increase. So what does this indicate? Silver is increasing in value more quickly than gold. If we look at the gold-silver ratio, we see it approaching 80-1, which means 80 ounces of silver are worth the same as 1 ounce of gold. If this ratio falls below 80, I will need to completely change how I buy precious metals. I will discuss that at the end of the video, but for now. Silver is currently nearing a record. The highest price recorded was $48.58 on April 28, 2011. If silver closes above that, it will reach its highest level since January 18, 1980, marking a 45-year high. It's uncertain if it will achieve this today, but we expected some resistance around $48. Silver has started to test this limit, and we don't know how high it might go from here. Ayer vi algunos titulares como este. Robert Kiyosaki criticizes Warren Buffett for changing his views on gold and silver after many years of criticism. Robert Kiyosaki has always liked gold and silver. Warren Buffett usually stated that gold and silver are not good investments, but it seems he has changed his opinion recently. If he is now suggesting that people buy gold and silver, I believe more people will begin to invest in these precious metals. Hay otra cosa de la que tenemos que hablar. Check out this headline. The government shutdown stops the release of economic information. Experts say the Fed might not have a clear view on interest rates. The shutdown might stop the jobs report from being released on Friday. And it has definitely done that. This article was published yesterday. No sabían si el informe de empleo se publicaría o no. Now we know that the jobs report will not be released. Let's check the economic calendar and see what things were postponed today. The U.S. employment report, employment rate, hourly wages, and year-over-year hourly wages have all been postponed. This is economic data that we do not know yet. When you visit the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics website, you will see this message. This website is currently not being updated due to the suspension of federal government services. The site was last updated on Wednesday, October 1, 2025. Site updates will begin again when the federal government starts working again. I know there are discussions happening now to determine if they can reach an agreement and restart the federal government. And who knows how that will turn out. But until that happens, we won't receive this economic data. I believe much of this fear is making people turn to precious metals. Another factor pushing metals up is the US dollar index. Here you can see that the dollar is weaker today. Whenever the dollar falls, it usually drives the prices of gold and silver up. Silver and Bitcoin have been fluctuating on this chart. These are the top assets by market capitalization, and gold is usually at the top. It looks like nothing will ever affect gold. The market cap here is more than $26 trillion. The next closest is Nvidia, valued at $4.6 trillion. Gold stays firmly in the lead, while silver and Bitcoin have been switching places. In fact, earlier this year, silver was only just in the top 10. However, since silver keeps rising, it is now firmly in 6th place. It is very likely that it will surpass Google in market value later this year if it keeps increasing. I want to highlight that Bitcoin is close to its highest price ever, which is $123,000 per Bitcoin. Aún así, la plata sigue superándolo aquí. I must say the increase in silver prices has been very impressive this year. We've already set a new record this year. We are examining the average price of silver for the year. Basically, they take the closing value every day and calculate the average for the year. The old record was $35.56, set in 2011. Ahora hemos roto ese record. We are currently at 36.71, and I believe this number will keep rising since there are still 3 months left in the year, and silver is priced at around $48 an ounce. This leads us to the article here. Is silver going to drop like it did in 1980 and 2011? Here's the chart showing the important $50 resistance level, which silver almost reached 2 times before. In 1980, there was a price surge caused by the Hunt brothers, and in 2011, the increase was due to quantitative easing. Now in 2025, we have a bull market for precious metals. They really believe that things are different this time. Aquí hay un gráfico que muestra los precios reales de la plata, o los precios de la plata ajustados por la inflación. They really have the 2080 high reaching a peak of $199 an ounce when adjusted for inflation. In 2011, the price reached a high of $72 an ounce. Now at 47 or 48, you can see we are much lower than those past highs. When you consider inflation, silver appears to have a long way to go. Another chart here displays the ratio of silver to the M2 US money supply, indexed to 100. This basically shows how inflation is harming the dollar. But take a look at these numbers. Así que en 1980 el pico fue de 1.38. In 2011 the highest point was 176. Ahora solo estamos en 66. I think silver is only beginning. Yes, we have seen it nearly reach $50 an ounce 2 times before, and then drop. But now the situation is very different. If you still don't believe me, I have a few more charts to share with you. This one shows the ratio of silver to U.S. federal debt, starting from a base of 100. Many of you know that the U.S. national debt is at $37 trillion and is now almost $38 trillion. If we look at silver in 1980, it was at its highest point of 1,377 compared to the national debt. In 2011, fue 87. Ahora solo son 33. The U.S. national debt keeps increasing, and global debt is growing too. This is one of the reasons we are seeing silver prices at an all-time high in many countries worldwide. Another thing to consider is the silver to Dow ratio, set to 100. This compares silver to the stock market. As you can see, silver is very cheap now compared to its price in 1980. The final thing they present here is silver's cup and handle pattern that has lasted for 6 decades. They truly believe that silver could reach $300 to $500 an ounce based on this chart and technical trading. De plata. Will silver drop in value when it reaches $50 an ounce? I really don't think so. I believe it can increase a lot more than its current level. If you're waiting for the price of silver to fall before buying more, you may not have much time left. I think silver could reach $50 an ounce on Monday next week. I have no idea what will happen, but looking at the trends and how silver prices are changing, this could be one of your last opportunities to buy it before it goes over $50 per ounce. We understood there would be significant pushback around $48. We're currently above that. Creo que podría bajar un poco. It might finish the day just under 48, but it has tried out the situation. It has been shown that it can increase, but let's return to the gold-silver ratio. This is the final point I wanted to discuss here. We are noticing that the ratio keeps decreasing from its peak for the year. Estaba en 104 y ahora estamos en 80. If this falls below 80, I will change my strategy of mostly buying silver because I have always bought mostly silver when the ratio is above 80. If the price is between 80 and 60, I prefer to buy both gold and silver. If this number drops below 60, I would like to concentrate mainly on gold. We'll see if it can go below 80. I believe that if silver rises again on Monday, it will likely drop below 80 into the 70s. Y yo luego podríamos estar listos para competir por la plata. But once more, I don't know what will happen. What do you think will happen? Déjame saber en la sección de comentarios. Thank you very much for watching.